Hello, friends. Welcome back to another part of our unnecessary risk-taking, where we are going to be landing a rocket on the radioactive asteroid. This is actually just like the smaller version of it, so I don't think it's the full-size version of it like you would get in the actual spaced-out game, but the radioactive forest is the nearest asteroid that we have to us, so we are going to pointlessly crash land on it, because why not take gigantic risks while we're here? Looks like we've also got some magma channels to deal with. Here's all the stuff we're going to have to deal with. Going to be a space biome there. It will be swampy, rusty, radioactive-y, icy, foresty, marshy, magma-y. Oh, something that I forgot is if you're new here, or if you just want a refresher on the rules, something we do every video. The rules for this run are that I have to play on the hardest difficulty, on the hardest seeds that we could find. We have to get all the achievements. We have to play on the hardest asteroid. But in this one, we're going to be leaving that asteroid and going to a new one and making it hard on ourselves, because that's what we do. So we're here. Let's crash land this thing. First of all, just to make sure we actually have a chance of surviving out there, I need to get all these duplicants in a suit. And what I'm going to do is, now that we have duplicants that are off-world, everyone that is at another world is going to be named as such, so that in text or anything like that, I can tell really quickly who's who, or rather where they are. So let's get these all in some suits. So I can click on stuff. That's very hard to click on. Is this one assigned? No. Okay. Let's get doubles in there. And then the last one is over here, I think. Click the suit! Click the suit! Click the suit! Come on. Okay, maybe I just need him out of the way. Yeah? There. Okay, jeez. This is like the hardest part of the run, is trying to click on a suit. Okay, now that we have them all in their suits, this is how much oxygen they each have. So, the other great thing is 2 of them have slime lungs, so no better way to make this harder for ourselves than to have sick duplicants while we're trying to land on this asteroid. So here's what we're going to do. We have them all in their suits. Let's go to the star map. Actually, I'm a little paranoid here. I also am not going to look at the surface, just for the funsies of it. Little paranoid, I just want to make sure they're all idling in their suits and we didn't catch them like mid-animation and mess something up here. So I'm going to go to the star map. Let me hit abandoned ship, which we are going to confirm, and it's going to blow it up as soon as I unpause. Boom! There you go. Now all the duplicants are going to be falling down in escape pods, which are going to land on the surface here. It looks like on the very surface we have some ice. We have a swampy biome right below it. Here's the pods that contain the duplicants. It looks like they're kind of split up, so this is going to be a little bit weird. There are small pockets of oxygen in here that I can have my duplicants get into, and the biggest things that we need to do... Ooh. Man, this is really good. The biggest things that we need to do is make sure our duplicants can take their suits off and live somewhere. We did bring some algae with us, but we need to unpack it, which... Oh, I hate this. Why do you do this to me? I can't click on this. Oh, there we go. Now I can. So we need to unpack this and grab some of the food and some of the oxygen production materials out of it. But yeah, we just need to get our duplicants to safety. So I'm just going to let it run for a second. There we go. Looks like there's some pockets that we can rely on here. They're all still in their suits and they're coming out of their pods right now. Who split up? Troubles. Okay. I just need to make sure they all have enough skills to do what we need done. The other thing is I can get down to these pockets of oxygen, but I really need a way to actually seal something off so that I can store oxygen in there, enough for my duplicants to be allowed to take their suits off. What's our strategy going to be here? Because we need a way for them to get in, and then we need to immediately seal something behind us so we don't just lose all that oxygen. So what I could do... I think getting Troubles over with the other 3 is not very good. So we're going to have Troubles kind of go on her own to get down in here. I think what I'm going to do is this. Let's dig down a few tiles so that she can kind of stay in this little area. We'll mine out this little piece of mafic rock. And then we will seal up the door behind us, and then we'll continue to dig down. And that ought to be good for Troubles. We'll need to find food at some point. It looks like there's not any sitting on the ground right now, so hopefully we can get to each other before one of them actually needs to eat. So same thing with these guys. Let's get them all into a little pocket somewhere, and then we will seal back behind us and keep digging downward. There is some oxygen in some of these pockets over here. It's also very cold. One thing I'm going to really not exploit is that you can effectively get infinity oxygen by having your duplicants stay in their suits, but also being in an oxygen-rich environment, so that when they go to catch their breath, it doesn't actually breathe the air. That is a really big exploit, and I am shocked that they have not fixed it, but there's a lot of things that we have not fixed. Alright, let's get him down here in this little area, and then we'll seal this top off. So let's get Lear over here. We're going to have to micro this just a little bit. Get everybody to where they need to go. And then we'll have to just kind of watch this. Wait, can you not dig? Okay, no. I was like, oh man, this is bad. Okay, it looks like it went too far down. I think the escape pod might have melted something, so that's not my favorite thing ever. We also need material for them to build with if they're going to close this up behind them. So let's deconstruct this. Then if we just get this one piece of mafic rock, we can just build a ladder to get down there. Same thing with Troubles, although she should be fine because she has access to this. Nice, nice. Oh no, there was snow on top of there. No, we're in trouble. Hey, isn't that appropriate? Alright, so we'll build one there for her. People on the other side now have access to some mafic rock, so let's just build a ladder here. There we go. Gonna micro the pause button here a bit. Now we just need to put a tile up here to trap rubbles. Oh, that should be the next one, rubbles. There we go. We're gonna have to put some backing on here too, although if we just go with these two tiles, let me get them all down here first. Let's move the mafic rock to actually have it drop down there. Troubles should be fine. I'm going to not pay attention to her too much anymore, because this is all sealed off. So if she just goes down here, now we know that she's not going to die, but she can at least continue to make progress. Does she have the right digging skill is another question. Yes, coincidentally enough. Okay, so she should be able to get all the way down here and into the real meat of the base where there's going to be food and stuff like that. Also might get her over here. Oh, do I want to unpack the carbon dioxide? That's really valuable. Okay. Let's move this over here too. Let's bring this in with us. Can I not move this? Oh, they can't reach it. That's why. Okay. Well, really quickly. There you go. Catch the mafic rock. Thank you. Let's take our supplies with us and make sure we do that. Let's deconstruct. I guess we don't really need those supplies. We'll be fine without them. So, Trouble's making progress over here. Good job. Now we need to build a ladder to get down. There we go. These three. Just once we get it moved in here, we're going to tell them all to go down there. There we go. Now move down here. Same with you. And same with you. Get down there. Thank you. Now build a couple tiles on your head. Good job. Underwater. We're in such a much better position. Alright. So, now we just need to keep going down. They should be safe to at least take off their suits once we get them into oxygen, but there's still some oxygen left. So, we can now open these pockets, and that will keep the oxygen around so we can use it. There we go. Once they're... I'll keep an eye on them to make sure that they take off their suits before we start running into the exploit. Wait, are these backed? Yeah, okay. Once... Like, we could technically have them just live forever, or at least be able to breathe forever this way, but like I mentioned, we're not going to do that. Let's get somebody on top of unpacking this, actually. So... We're going to... This is like our suitcase. We're just going to start moving in. So, empty the storage, someone. Uh-oh. Okay, no, we're good. Yeah, thanks for warning me about the ceiling collapse now. It already happened. Okay, we've got some brine coming down here. There's not a ton of oxygen, but we can still keep going down. What kind of resources do we have access to? Let's get these mined out really quickly so we can start building a ladder down. We could build a ladder down to here, too, just to get this out of here. There we go. All right, those 3 ought to be fine. Troubles, you are doing fine as well. Come on. So I can just kind of stagger this so that she can at least make her way down like this. There we go. That ought to get her down a little ways. As long as I can get all 4 of them in the same spot, then we can start actually building stuff that's like a real base. So there we go. Got a little bit more. Oh, is the food here? Wait. Oh, it's right here. Okay, I thought I might have just been dropping all my stuff into the water. Okay, there we go. Abe's doing it the cool way. He's doing the reverse unpack. It's like, he's like swagging out. There we go. Alright, so... do any of these 3 have the right skills to actually dig through this? I think Abe might. Let's make sure. Yes, coincidentally enough. Wow, I did not plan that. Alright, so what I am going to have them do is let's just start digging down and getting to a more central point in the base. At least we have an oxygen source here by way of having access to this polluted water. So that'll be helpful. It looks like... oh, how much food did I just lose? I just lost like half of my food from it decaying. Well, that's fun. Okay, cool. Troubles is starting to get hungry, but we're gonna get there. Okay, this will at least allow them to dig toward each other so that she can get to the food. I'll have them start to dig in other directions as well. I'm gonna preserve this sleet wheat because sleet wheat is really good. Alright, I think that we have a good enough... oh no! Oh, my oxygen. I was just gonna say, I think we have a good enough breakpoint here where I can just kind of wait for them to build this all out, but then immediately disaster struck. Come on, get the wall up. Hurry up. Okay. How much oxygen do they have left? I guess they'd be holding their breath if they were out, so I don't know how to actually check. Doesn't say like they're carrying it or something. Oh well. Okay, so we're still digging down here. We still have a little bit of oxygen left over. Now they're starting to fall asleep, which is a little bit of a problem. I think half of them are... wait, this is too bright? What? Why are you upset about the bright light? Whoa, wait, what? Ice doesn't block light? Since when? Huh, I did not know that. That is interesting. Also, get out of here. And if we need to build like a tile over the top of them, yeah, that she's just not going to do something smart, like move out of the way. Here, come build a ceiling so I can sleep. Thanks. Alright. So yeah, let's just continue to build this out a little bit, to hopefully not have this video be too long once we get everything established. So I think we're relatively safe, but we still need a food source. We still need an oxygen source. We need power. We need all kinds of stuff that we did not bring because we are pointlessly taking risks. So I'll just kind of keep going along this, and once we get everybody united and everybody has eaten and slept comfortably, we'll continue to build this out. Okay. Since we last saw, the crew has been reunited. They are either working down here or they are sleeping up there because it's their sleeping time. Who's trapped? What's going on? Trapped? Trapped? Why are you trapped? Oh. Great. Now I have someone on the main world that's doing some dumb things. Okay, I guess if we just build those 2 spots, we should probably be fine. I can't believe I have to juggle this on 2 different places. What is this, obsidian? So I'll make one out of obsidian just because it's right here. What's the other one? That's abyssalite. We can't use that. I remember when you could. The game was so broken, you could build everything out of abyssalite. It was nuts. What else is here? I guess I could just put like a fire pole or something since there's some iron ore. So, yay. This is the most, like, disorganized rescue ever. Hassan, get yourself out of there. Come on. Why did you even do this in the first place? Who trained you? Alright, I think they should be able to get out from here. Yeah, I think he should be fine. This would be funny if this is what ended the run, is somebody on the main asteroid getting stuck at the bottom of the map for no reason. Alright, get out of there. No! You need oxygen. Why are you going back? Get out of here. Up here. Stop it. Okay, you should be fine. Anyway, so our duplicants are either here and sleeping on the job, which is pretty normal, or they're getting further down, and we have now approached the teleporter. So as soon as I have access to it, I'm going to have a duplicant go through it, and then defrost this duplicant so that we can get the achievement. I may start sending them back as well, but I do want to at least have a few of them here. And our strategy while we're here is really just to live off of the native plants for as long as we can, and slowly expand. The biggest thing that we need is we need these duplicants' stress to get under control. So I'm going to repurpose this room for a great hall. I don't think I have enough space right now as it is. Actually, let me cancel this. Let's deconstruct this one and we'll kind of build it out a little bit. But the first thing we really need is a great hall. We need bathrooms because they're still just kind of letting it go wherever it lies, which is probably not what we want to do long term. So yeah, we're just going to get into this room. We got a few more buildings to build. Their suits are probably just about out of oxygen. It hasn't given me a bar back on here telling me how much they have. If they're not starting to suffocate in their suits pretty soon, I think I'm just going to have them take it off. Actually, let's just do it now. Whatever. We might start getting some stress reactions because of how not hospitable this area is, but at least they'll be able to breathe, so there we go. Should be good. Alright, so we'll have them continue to expand, and once we get in here, we'll resume. But, yeah. This is pretty interesting so far. Alright, this is about how it's going. We have two duplicants that are wanting to binge eat, but I am blocking them from doing so by not letting them through this door. They're very respectful binge eaters. They start to follow the rules, so I gotta love that. And Abe is just up here crying in the corner, which is great. So we've got a pretty serious situation on our hands. Doubles is the only person working right now, which you've gotta love. But at least we have food for the time being. I just need to keep an eye on these binge eaters to make sure that they don't starve to death, which I will start to get warnings here in just a minute, and I'll let them through if they do need to eat. But I think we can wait this out, considering they have eaten everything on this side of the door. So, interesting happenings here, but we'll try to manage it the best we can. If anything horrible happens, then I'll let you know. Also, his tears are freezing right when they come out. That is hilarious. Alright, one of the ways that we can deal with the morale problems is we could just build a nature reserve right in the middle of the base. So I'm doing that now. And we have 4 plants in here, which is, I guess we have 5. But that is the minimum that we will need to get this nature reserve up. Wait, building it out of ice? I didn't even know you could do that. Okay, let's build it out of something that's not ice so that our park sign doesn't melt. Why would you ever build a park sign out of ice? Okay, whatever. So yeah, we're just going to try to get this done. And we are quickly running out of calories as I've had to manage these stress reactions, but I think we're going to be okay. Once they get a walk through the park, we should be in better shape. We're almost to the point where we can build out our great hall and our bedrooms, which I have space reserved for right now. There we go. 2 of them are getting nature reserve. Yeah, barely higher than their minimums on morale, and you're not even there. Cool. But that'll at least help a little bit for some of these duplicants. But yeah, I don't know. We're still alive. We're still making progress. It's okay. It's still good. It's still good. Okay, we're about to breach where the teleporter is, so we might as well send a duplicant over here and defrost this friend and totally have this asteroid be overpopulated. I think I will at least send 1 back. I don't want to put us in a position where we totally run out of food and oxygen for no reason on this asteroid. We may be able to sustain 6, but I don't know. Maybe I just will. Who knows? I do eventually want to get access to these teleporters, though, so I can send stuff back and forth just as an emergency. But I think that we can live sustainably here with just a handful of duplicants, so I don't know. We'll try it. Alright, let's send somebody over. Who do we want to send? And of course, nobody that we're going to skill scrub, because we like doing things the hard way for some reason. Who do we want to send? Let's send How about Nicola? I guess we didn't need to do that. We could just select the teleporter. I don't know why I'm making this so hard on myself. All right. Hey, where does this teleporter go? Oh, here? Oh, interesting. All right, let's send Nicola over, and then we will defrost the friend. That wording on that achievement is so weird. I don't know if that person has to be the one to defrost it, or how it keeps track of it, or I don't know. There's a lot of achievement wording that is unnecessarily confusing, at least to me, but maybe I'm just taking it too literally. Alright, the other thing that we need here is we need some oxygen density. This is one of the downsides of any, like, passive oxygen generation from, like, dirt and polluted water and stuff. Is this ready? No. Oh, here he comes. So we do need to put up our algae distiller. I think that's what it's called, right? Oxygen diffuser. Yeah, it's totally not the algae distiller. I can inspect this, I guess. Get the extra data banks. Alright, let's go! Okay, now let's defrost the friend. Inspect it first, of course, and inspect this side. You, go do it. Yes! Watch it be another Nicola! No, okay. Nice. Looks like this is a Nails, I believe. Oh no, May. Okay. I always get those two mixed up. That face was pretty good. Okay, now we have 6 duplicants here. We have beds for all of them. We have a place for them to eat. We'll get our Great Hall finished out here. The 2 twins, of course, making trouble. We've got power up here. Next thing we really need to get up is food. By the way, we did get the achievement, so here we go. Yeah, teleport a duplicant and defrost a friend on another world. There, person whoever challenged me to do this for no reason, I officially landed on the planet before ever using the teleporter and dug my way there, so I hope you're happy. Okay, so we'll get our food kind of set up here. I think we're going to start off with bog buckets because that's what's available here. And we do have plenty of polluted water that we can get hooked up, so we'll kind of live off of bog buckets and cooking them and that kind of stuff for a little while. I think it's called Swampy Delights when you cook it into something else. So that'll be the plan. We have plenty of water here too, so I'm really not worried about growing stuff that we might need. We could also use these oxy ferns, since we do have a forest biome over here, to get the oxygen all set up on this planet as well. So lots of infrastructure is going to come in here in just the next little bit. But we just need our duplicants to calm down for a little bit. Let's actually see what their morale's at. Okay, pretty good. Yeah, it's starting to drop. Alright, I think we're going to stabilize without too much damage happening. But the duplicants will definitely be scarred for life, that's for sure. Alright, we'll get the next part of this set up in just a bit. Okay, progress. We are still scraping by. I'm still not too worried, though. This looks a lot worse than it actually is. We still have a lot of the map we can explore, a lot of free food we could get. But yeah, I think settling in here and just being our own little independent colony out here has actually gone pretty well. Just a couple more stress reactions, which haven't been the worst. I've been able to fend off most of them because our... Oh, nice. Why don't you just stand right in all the water? Been able to fend off a lot of them, which has been nice. Just because we have the Great Hall up, we have our nature reserve, we have bedrooms. And the food quality isn't terrible, considering we're able to cook these Swampy Delights. So yeah, nothing too wild going on here, just getting more food up. The big concern, or rather the big thing that I want to get done next, is I want to start getting these plug slugs hooked up to some power lines for me. That's just basically a whole bunch of free power that I won't need to run on hamster wheels for. So that'll be really nice when I can get it up. So that's going to be the focus next, I think, and I'll just continuously dig around the map and try to get more food types up. Going to be harvesting some natural nosh beans, making some tofu, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, still just kind of poking around and making progress, but this is going a little smoother than I expected it to. This is also why I say in the very first video, if you might have watched this, this is not overly similar to the radioactive asteroid, but the point still is the fact that I can go out and just survive on the land for a while really makes this a lot easier than the big desert wasteland biome that we'd have to deal with otherwise. So I guess I'm just feeling a little bit more validated in choosing that more difficult asteroid than the radioactive ocean, or rather the radioactive ocean? Forest? I think it's radioactive ocean. But yeah, so kind of demonstrating my point here. This is more lush than the other one typically would be, but still, being able to leave and go out on the map is such a big deal. So yeah, things are going pretty well. We'll try to get those plug slugs all hooked up. Okay, I don't know how badly I need to worry about this, but the meteor strikes that are happening are most definitely going to melt a lot of this ice biome up here. I don't think it's ever going to be a problem for the rest of my base, and we will eventually get protection up for this. But the problem that I'm facing is if I ever lose all of these sleet wheat grains or plants, then we effectively lose because we can't finish the achievement for mutating them. And I'm not 100% sure where we're going to encounter these again. So just in case, I am going to harvest these, and then I'm going to plant a few of them. Even though they're not going to grow right away, at least keeping them planted and not growing will be a good way to preserve them, rather than potentially everything turning into rot and being extinct, at least on this planet. So I'm just going to do that really quickly because that just crossed my mind as I heard the asteroid or meteor strike happening. But yeah, same thing as usual is what we're doing here. Just going to be revealing a couple geysers to make sure that we can get access to the water geysers that we need. And continuing to plant these bog buckets. I know it says I have no calories right now, but trust me, it looks better than it... Or, sorry, it's better than it looks. We're about to get a quick burst of calories here by digging out some more hexalent fruit. And then our bog buckets are just about ready to harvest, so... We'll be okay. Looks like we're struggling. We're struggling a little bit, but I think we're doing okay on this new asteroid. But yeah, little minor thing that's happening that we need to make sure we protect ourselves from is plant extinction. So we should be able to get up there and clean that up in just a bit. Okay, it's been a little while, but I figure that you could share in my stress. So we are still just barely keeping some duplicants alive. This doesn't look like it. I feel like I say that every single time we talk about this. But I have had a starving duplicant pretty much every day for about the last 4 or 5 days, only because I'm waiting for all this production to kick in, and it's just barely not getting there by the time it says that my duplicants are starving. So we start getting on timers like this. There was one instance where May was down to like 200 calories. So it gets very low, and I have to really start paying attention to what my duplicants are doing to make sure they don't die. I'm also making sure that they don't just eat the raw bog jelly, because that's just a waste of calories at that point. So yeah, we do get instant... Yep, here you go. As soon as one of them gets taken care of, the next one is starving. We'll eventually get on top of this, but it is still very scary and very close. So, actually, stop moving this. You're already in a good spot. So it does get very scary a couple times, but we're going to make it, and we're going to stay stubborn and not activate the teleporter, because we could just very easily send ourselves food. But, no, we'll be okay. We like to live on the edge here. Okay, we finally have our plug slug terrarium up and running. These are interesting. If you haven't watched my spaced out walkthrough, I did talk about these quite a bit. I'm going to try something a little bit different with this run, though. There's only a handful of them here. So what I want to try is the amount of electricity that they produce at night is totally dependent on how much they've eaten. I also do not want to ranch these for 2 reasons. One is that once something is tame, everything else that it produces is tame, and that's not what I want to do with these. They will eventually go extinct. But the second thing is... wild critters eat much more slowly than tame critters. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to actually feed these plug slugs, but I'm going to figure out the timing in which, like, how long they have to sit before I need to feed them again to get their full power output. Because if this is, what, 6 plug slugs at full power, that is a lot of power for just this smaller asteroid. And if we can find a timing to just drop a little bit of food in there every once in a while, just to keep them filled up, that would be great. So that's what I want to shoot for here. And they will produce a little bit of hydrogen, but there is going to be another huge hydrogen producer. How in the world did you manage that? That is amazing. Someone should make a t-shirt of that. Look at that. Okay. That's the best stuck I've ever seen. Get out of there. What are you doing? Yeah, come on. Jeez. Alright, anyway, so we are going to be using a lot of hydrogen this game. But this is not going to be our primary source of it. Our primary source is going to be this. We have some betas down here. And the interesting thing is that these hives will continuously produce betas, but this is the real power in it, the Saturn critter trap seed. I did not know that they spawned here, and now that they did... Oh, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen one of these in this state before. Huh. What's interesting is the Saturn critter traps will eat critters, and they will emit a hilarious amount of hydrogen. So we are going to definitely take advantage of this. I also took advantage of this in my walkthrough series for Spaced Out, but we used Morbs instead. But this time we're going to be using betas just because they're right next to where the Saturn critter traps are, and I guess just to be a little bit different than what we did last time. Alright, a little bit of an awkward edit. I'd been saying that my phone's alarms had been going off a lot at night, which is when I record a lot of these, and I hadn't been disrupted by it yet. And it just happened for the first time. I am shocked it took that long. Okay, so what we're going to do with these Saturn critter trap setups is I need a lot of refined metal, both for like suits and some other stuff. We still haven't turned on our teleporters yet. We also are going to want to put up a battery bank to store all the power that these plug slugs are going to put out, so I definitely want to get refined metal from our volcano on the other asteroid rather than producing it ourselves or trying to take another volcano here, which we have unearthed a couple of it. There's one cobalt volcano here and a gold volcano right here. A bunch of other vents and stuff here, but we'll cover that just a little bit. But we definitely need to get these teleporters activated, and once we get them activated, I need to set up something... this is in such a weird spot. We need to set up something to monitor how much stuff is going through, because I don't want to send all my refined metals. So we're going to talk about that and get a setup going here to start sending supplies back to the other asteroid. We'll do that in just a minute. By the way, I got distracted and forgot that we were going to take another duplicate, so let's do that now. Plant Murderer, yay. This is actually a pretty good duplicate, all things considered, so... Welcome aboard, Lindsay. You are not going to have a special name because we're not really doing that anymore. Duplicates will just kind of get more generic by this phase of the game anyway. So yeah, still waiting on getting this stuff set up, and once we do, we'll talk about how to ship stuff between asteroids. Not planets, asteroids. Whatever. Okay, we've got our setup ready to start sending stuff through the teleporter. We are using a conveyor meter, which is basically... There's one for each type of stuff that you can send. So there's one for liquids, one for gases. It basically only allows a certain amount through. But the problem with these things that I don't really like that much is they can't go very high. They can really only go up to like 500. So what I have in this conveyor loader is you can just allow manual use, so your duplicates are allowed to actually drop stuff off here. So I can have them bring a whole bunch of cobalt, and then the conveyor meter will only let a certain amount through. Once that amount is done, you can just hit reset. You can also set up some automation to reset this, which is this input right here. But there's not really a great way to do that. I guess you could do like a counter or something like that to let you know. Like you could set up some automation here. I don't even know if I have it researched. No, I don't. If you had like a counter system, you could count how many times you want it to send 500, but I just kind of wish this was larger because we're going to need a good amount here. The good thing about it, and the reason it's still worth using even in this like not ideal state, is a big problem is if you wanted to send stuff and then you just forgot that you had it turned on. You could wind up sending yourself way too much, and that would be a problem, obviously. So yeah, we have some cobalt here. And we can start building out some stuff, so I have an area set up to basically get our rocket batteries up. So we'll get that, and then the other thing we need is we also need to start getting our suits up so we can get down into this bottom biome and get our Saturn critter traps going. So now that we have the refined metal here, we'll get going on that, and then we will start setting up something here to feed our plug slugs once they start getting lower production at night. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Once that happens, we'll get everything up. I think I'll put a shipping setup probably right here. We're going to need some kind of oxygen setup for the suits as well. So, a couple little projects to do in the meantime. Alright, Lindsay is really giving her blood pressure a run for its money, as her calories are extremely low because of how slow she is, combined with the fact that she has slime lung. It takes her forever to do stuff. Just barely got food in her before that was a game ender right there, so yikes. Thanks, Lindsay. I'm also trying to send her to the other asteroid too, so I don't even know if I actually assigned it. I'm trying to get more duplicants to both places so that we can... Yeah, it's already assigned. I'm trying to get more duplicants to both places so that we can... What the... What are you doing? Get out of there. Anyway, for the third time, trying to get more duplicants to both places just so we can move along a little bit quicker. So I am going to take another duplicant. Let's see what we get. Okay. Not bad. Ellie doesn't get a special name because we're not really doing that anymore. So there we go. Taking on our 15th duplicant. We do eventually need to get up to like 20. I might go higher than that just to keep things moving along a little bit faster, but yeah, there's a lot of projects happening. So we do have our batteries up here. We're going to get a bunch of the wires replaced, but I'm going to start working on the setup for shipping and our setup for oxygen, because we need those for our suit banks that we're going to create down here before it really makes sense to get those suit banks up. So, now that we have that, we need our shipping system to do two things. Lindsay, you're starving again. Okay, teleport. Get over there. She just really wants us to lose, doesn't she? How many calories are you at? 900. Okay, you should be fine. Stop complaining. Come on, go get some food. Yeah, we get it. Uh-huh. Get over there. Alright. Geez, we're being very disrupted by duplicants that don't want to cooperate. Alright. What? Oh, she has to catch her breath. Yep, okay. This is painful. Alright, so our shipping setup. I'm just going to set it up a little bit more traditionally like I would on a more, like, forgiving map, I suppose. We are getting a lot of metal ore on this asteroid, so I'm fine using a little bit more. But our shipping setup is going to be something that's pretty standard. And I'm setting it up down here because a ton of the material had fallen off of where we mined all this stuff out. So it's a good, like, seed for all of our shipping. We need two things, though. Actually, this is, like, off-center, and it's going to bother me. Probably the only person that cares. Right? Oh, yeah, no, everything is off-center. Oh. Well, I messed up. Alright, time to fix that. So, just gonna drop a bunch of conveyor chutes here, and if we're ever shipping something to the center, I'm gonna ship it through a few different channels, just so we have as much coming through as possible by virtue of having more bandwidth. So, now that we have that, we need a couple of setups here. For one, we need an oxygen setup. So I'm going to create a couple of bins here, and those are going to feed a sublimation station and a whole bunch of deodorizers. These are going to be ways to produce oxygen from all the polluted dirt that we have. And there's a lot on this asteroid that should keep us alive for quite a while. Here we go. We could also do the polluted mud if we want to stomp on it and get that back. So if you do something like this, you can just kind of set up some airflow tiles, and if you want to control where it actually flows, I might actually just close these off really quickly and fix this while I'm at it, because it's bothering me. I don't know how that happened. Someone can't count. It wasn't me. Then we're just going to throw some deodorizers up here, and if we start shipping our polluted dirt and some sand up here, we can just set up something that looks kind of like this. Can go ahead and drop a couple tiles here on the side. Put some deodorizers up, and then something like this will help produce oxygen for us. That will then keep it saturated enough that we can pump out and send down to our suits. So let me give my duplicants some time to build all this stuff. Once we get our shipping system up, we're going to need one more thing, by the way, which is going to be something to send these plug slugs a little bit of metal so we can keep them fed. But we'll talk about that setup here in just a second once we get everything up. So yeah, we'll get the rest of it and we'll keep going. Alright, here's our running oxygen setup and our running shipping setup. I just need to put these auto sweepers on some timer sensors just so they're not running all the time. There we go. So when they're actively shipping something, they're shipping the maximum amount they can for the power that I'm paying. So yeah, just gotta get those up whenever you're using those things, when they're gonna be constantly on. So we've got that. Let's get our feeding setup going. Oh, I just missed the nighttime. Aw, man. Well, anyway, what happens with these plug slugs is the longer they're not fed, the worse their power output gets. So all I'm going to do is something kind of like not super sophisticated. I'm just going to put a timer sensor on here, which is just going to determine how much to release and then how often to release it. And by how much, I really just mean how long this vent is open, which there's a rate at which this comes out anyway. So yeah, that's going to be the plan. So I'll just set this up for metal ore, and it will drop in metal ore into this bin whenever it wakes back up. Reset. Let me turn this one off for just a second, just so we can get it to load that. I guess I could have changed the priority to be a little bit higher, but whatever. So, now that we have it coming in here, I can just change this timer sensor to only be on at certain times. So, if we know how fast things come out, like, it's basically like 1 packet per second, as far as I know. So let's try this. Let's say for like, I don't know, 10 seconds, and then we leave it off for... we could change this to cycles, actually. Leave it open for 10 seconds, turn it off for, like, I don't know, 2 cycles. And then we'll just kind of see how well that works. We might not get enough in there the first time, so let me reset the timer really quickly. Then we drop some cobalt ore in there, and what should happen is this should keep our plug slugs fed, but not wasting as much metal this way. And we'll just kind of keep an eye on how they're performing at night and how much energy they're putting out. We will also want a way to pump out the hydrogen that they create too. So I have basically walled everything off except for these 2 tiles right here because the hydrogen's going to rise. And we'll just set something up to pump out the hydrogen whenever it's detected by this gas element sensor. And we can put this on a filter gate just to make sure that we don't have this running all the time. Or rather, just to make sure it's not like 1 packet of hydrogen gets there and then it turns on. So we could just set up something like this. I'll put up this wall a little bit later. But something like that at the top will be where the hydrogen will all filter to, and then we can start to combine that with the output we're going to get from the Saturn critter traps. Whoa, I overfilled this way too high. How much has been coming out of here? Oh, it looks like it just started happening. I need to get used to pressing these buttons. There we go. Okay, so yeah, once we get the Saturn critter traps up, which is going to be our next little project, now that we have a way to generate oxygen, we won't need these as much because the amount of hydrogen we're going to get from that is going to be ridiculous, and that's going to be plenty of power for what we need to do. Let's set up a quick oxygen filtration system here. So I'm going to set up a gas pump that's going to be for filling up our suit banks. So our suit banks are going to go down here. We could at least set up these stations here really quickly just so we know what we're going to do. So we'll set up something like this and then just like a bank of suits. But we do need oxygen to go into those suit docks, and we need a pump to get it into those banks. So all we're going to want to do is set up a gas reservoir, and this is going to have a gas pipe that stems from the gas pump, and then we'll check it to make sure that it's oxygen, and if it is, we'll send it into the tank. If not, we'll just kind of send it back out into the base, something like that. So if it is oxygen, we need to know that. So we'll have a gas shutoff and an element sensor right next to each other, so that if the packet in here is detected to be oxygen, we're going to send it into the tank, and then the tank is going to head down to our suit banks, which we don't need to hook up all the way right now. I'll just kind of do that off camera. But the only other thing that this really gets us is we make sure that this pump isn't running all the time, and it's really only running when we need it to. So there are some automation settings that we can put on this reservoir. Let me actually speed up the build of this really quick. There's some automation we can put on this reservoir to say, like, if there's not enough in here, we can turn the pump on to pump more stuff out. I need to move this polluted water, by the way. This might... No, that's not terrible. Okay, whatever. So, yeah. If the gas reservoir gets too filled up with oxygen, it'll basically turn the pump off, so we're not having it run all the time. So the numbers that I usually go with, if I'm not 100% sure where I want it to be, is like 80-20. Those are always like pretty safe values to make sure that it's going to be not necessarily all the way filled up, but also never really drained. So yeah, there you go. We'll let our duplicants build this out, and then I think the last setup of this video is going to be getting our Saturn critter traps up and sending the hydrogen back to our main base so that we can put up some silly hydrogen production or power plants. Hydrogen production power, make power plants. Okay, let's break the game. So these are beta hives. They will produce these little betas every once in a while. And the thing we're going to combine them with are these Saturn critter traps. We're just going to build out a setup really quickly that is going to take advantage of the fact that the beta hives will constantly be producing critters, and the Saturn critter traps will eat them and produce hydrogen. So all we're going to do for this is just build a simple terrarium, something like this. I'm going to probably make it a little bit larger than it might need to be, only so that we can store a little bit more hydrogen in here. We'll have to worry less about spacing and stuff like that, so yeah, we'll just kind of be a little bit more liberal with this. I should probably move all this stuff out of the way. I guess we'll just do this. There, they'll come get it eventually. So we just need to build a room that's kind of like this, and the reason that we want to build this room is all the stuff down here is extremely cold, and these Saturn critter traps, there's one, oh, there was one here. Oh, there's one right here. They do have a body temperature range that we do need to keep under control, but they also will take polluted water, and polluted water is going to freeze at some of these super lower temperatures. So we just need to make a temperature-controlled place for them. So I'm going to put up a liquid reservoir. This is going to be to hold polluted water for us. Then we're going to need to create a bunch of hydroponic farm tiles, which are here. You can just probably lay them out like this. And we're going to plant the Saturn critter traps in here. Each of these is going to need some input of polluted water, but I'm going to put a radiant pipe right next to it as well to make sure to keep the water that's in here cycling constantly to keep this cooled down, because after it eats the critter, it will emit hydrogen, and that hydrogen is usually pretty warm. So we're going to need to do something like we did before, where we need to measure the temperature at some point and then dump the water out somewhere when we're done using it. So we've done this for a setup earlier that I'm having a hard time remembering. Oh, it might still be up, actually. No, it's not. It was our cooling for all of our food earlier. So just a simple setup where we basically evaluate the temperature at a certain point, and if it is over a certain temperature, we will send it off somewhere else. So I'm going to send it out like that. We'll put a liquid shutoff here when my duplicants get here to put it up. But we're going to do that, and right before it, we're going to use a liquid pipe thermosensor to check it to see what the temperature is. If it is beyond a temperature that we want to keep, we'll send it out and it'll go. We'll set up the rest of that in a bit. I'll probably just take this saltwater geyser, which is somewhere around here that I don't remember. Here we go. I'll take this saltwater geyser and we'll use that to warm up the polluted water. Then we'll put it in our system that we feed to all of these bog buckets if it does get warm enough. If it's cool enough, then I want to send it back into the loop of everything. So just going to look something like this. And then we will also need a way to have more water be called down from our cool slush geyser, which is up here, and kind of refill the system if it starts to get low, which is something we were doing earlier. So let me have my duplicants build this out really quickly, and then we'll actually show it in action. And we'll finally end this video, which has taken me forever to record and post. Sorry for taking so long, but it's taken my duplicants a while to get all this stuff done since we have like projects going on both asteroids. Alright, real quick, we're gonna just take another duplicant. Again, not the worst one. Yeah, narcoleptic's not the greatest. Decorating's a pretty not great interest to have, but that's fine. That puts us at 16. We can still easily feed and maintain all the duplicants that we have right now. I even dug up a whole bunch of food that was growing here because we didn't need it for the duplicants that we have. So I have 9 at the second asteroid and 7 at the first one. This setup has a couple of little modifications, just a liquid lock here so we can get in and out to plant the seeds and that kind of stuff, and also keep the hydrogen contained. So yeah, setup is still coming up, almost done. Once this is done and we're sending it back, and we can see these things starting to produce, I think we're going to call this video good. Definitely a longer one, took me a longer time to produce, took a longer time in the game. Hopefully we can shorten that for the next one since we're going to have more duplicants and hopefully focusing more on one asteroid, but we'll get there. Okay, I think we're finally ready to get this thing started up. The first thing that I needed to do was kind of seed this with some hydrogen gas just so that we have a way to keep everything cool. And our biggest way of keeping everything cool is going to be to start pumping some of this cold, polluted water in here. So the setup that I have, which we'll run through here in just a second while I wait for the water to get here. Yeah, let's do something like this. What I want to do is set up a loop of polluted water that we have coming from our cool slush geyser. And the thing that you just saw me hook up a second ago was a piece of automation that runs all the way up to this pump, so that this pump will only run when we need more water down in that system. So I've got a tank that's basically asking for water and on some automation saying, hey, we need to fill this up when it's time, or rather when it's not all the way filled up. And that'll start going into this tank, and then this tank will start to flow and create a loop that will consistently go in a circle right here. If the water is ever above, let's say like -4, maybe, somewhere around there, I'm just going to dump it out and send it somewhere else. It's just going to get sent up to be warmed up by this saltwater geyser as soon as it wakes up, which, whoa, that's going to be a long time. We could probably throw some other stuff in here in the meantime, but that's going to be the idea. Once that's warmed up, I'm just going to send it into my bog buckets, which this will start to diminish as we get duplicates off of this asteroid. Because we're not going to need them all here forever, and this is not exactly like the most renewable source of everything. Like, we do have a good amount of different things that we could still capture, like this cool slush salt geyser, or cool salt slush geyser, or whatever. But yeah, let's see what happens with this once we get it down here. I do need the hydrogen in here initially, just so that we can kind of seed it with all of this water and cooling and stuff. Then the beta hive is still here. It'll just produce a beta probably about once a cycle. Then we just need to select our Saturn critter traps and just throw them all down. Here we go. So, yeah, I think we have 7 seeds, so we'll go ahead and plant 7 of these right now. We can just rush one of them so we can see this going, and then the loop is just going to be constantly keeping everything cool in this room. And then the water, once again, if it ever gets above that -4, it'll just get stolen off the line by this. The way I have this piped is so if we need more water, the loop is actually going to halt for a little bit and just sit here. But here, we just saw a bee-teeny, or I think that's what these things are called. The little baby bees, I just saw one of them get eaten by the Saturn critter trap. So over time, and it takes a long time for this to happen, it will digest this critter and consistently put out hydrogen gas. Then the last element of this, and the whole point of this in general, is just to pump it out. So we have a place that we can get a pump ready, but I only want to pump this out if we have a certain amount of hydrogen actually in here. So we'll just set up something like this, and if we're over, like, I don't know, 1,500 grams of hydrogen or something like that, then we should be good. But this consistent flow of water, at least once this gets filled up, you'll see the cycling happen. That'll keep it to a temperature that these Saturn critter traps will still like and still grow in. So yeah, let's wait for that to happen. In the meantime, the hydrogen that we produce, we want to send back to our main base. So I'm sending it into this teleporter, and we'll get all of our power stuff set up next time. I just need to hook up a couple of lines here really quickly to get this done. Just going to reuse our pipe that sent in the hydrogen initially. So we have 2 sources of hydrogen. This is a very weak source of hydrogen because I don't really want it for that. By the way, here's the production levels that we're getting out of these. Probably a little low, actually. We need to change these numbers just a little bit. Change the red duration down to, like, I don't know, 2 cycles. Let's cut it in half and see if we get any better production for power. But we can also consume this hydrogen that gets produced here for power as well. We'll deal with that mostly next video. So we're waiting for another beta baby to come out so we can see it get eaten by the Saturn critter trap. Here we go. Perfect timing as the game hitches while we're doing our little autosave here. Once it gets eaten, I think we'll get the pump up and going, and we will call this video good. Finally, it's felt like such a long journey. There you go. Yoink. The Saturn critter trap has started digesting. And we have this set so that it'll turn off. It'll stop requesting water, basically, when it's halfway filled, but it still has to clear out the rest of the line while that's happening. Are we still requesting water? Okay, yeah, it should be stopped. So there we go. Yeah, disabled by the automation grid. So I put it at about half just because this whole line still needs to drain before this can start flowing. But you can see that once there's nothing on the line, or basically when we're not asking for anything anymore, that's when you get the water cycling happening. So there you go. Like I mentioned, we will get this all ready to get pumped out. This will start getting more and more dense over time, and we're going to set up a lot of infrastructure for power in our main base, since we're going to need it for the next little phase of the game. And we're going to start switching on to hydrogen power in this area too, and probably stop feeding these plug slugs. There's no reason to waste metal on these anymore, considering they're going to be such a weak source of hydrogen. So, yeah, quite the long video, but the amount of infrastructure and work that we have done on this asteroid has really been substantial. So we are ready to transition into another phase of the game, probably mostly on the main asteroid, where we are getting our like big industrial strength stuff up so that we can start aiming for some of these harder achievements, or at least some of the ones that take a little bit longer to do. So yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching. Longer video. Sorry it took so long for this to produce. This was a really long setup here, by the way. Let's only pump this out if it's above like 1500. There. Okay, thanks for joining me. I'll be back with the next episode as soon as I can get it out. Yeah, hopefully it won't be as big as of a gap as last time, but thanks for sticking with it. I'll see you in the next episode. Alright, bye-bye.